I've been trying to record a response to this video for a couple of days now. It's been rolling around in my head and I've tried to come to a good conclusion. I haven't yet. And maybe we need to talk about this a little bit more. So grab my hand, let's go on a journey. For a living, I explain concepts that are technical in nature and or creative with a technical aspect to them. And my job, if I were to say it were one thing, or my superpower, if I were to tell you what my one superpower is explaining complex concepts to non-technical people, right? I am not a technician. I am not a developer. I'm not a designer. I do not code. I know enough code to be able to find some pixels when you put them in there. From a marketing perspective, I can tear up some if you wanted me to look it up. But I can tell you different parts and pieces of code on the back end if I had to look at it, right? My brother's a designer and a developer, so I've learned that skill over time throughout my career as well. But what I will tell you about breaking down complex concepts, right? Because I am a person who has to do it every single day to people who are super smart, so I think. And I have to explain to them every single day, every single release, every single quarter, this is how XYZ is done, and this is why it's done that way, right? Prime example, I built a huge communication platform alongside a couple of other folks that was for a small business side of the house, and they built it for the consumer side of the house. And folks oftentimes have a hard time understanding that those two things are not the same place, right? And how I explain that they're not the same place to a crowd of witnesses who are listening to this concept, I often say, they look like they're the exact same place, right? They are not the same place. You bought a tutor in Portland, Oregon, and I bought a tutor in Portland, Maine. They may look like the same house, but they are not in the same place, right? And folks usually go, oh, okay, right? I bought a colonial in Oak Park, Illinois. You bought a colonial in Oak Park, Michigan. They look like the same type of house. They are not in the same place. So what I say is, find like items that people will have an easier understanding about, be able to apply that easy universal understanding to a complex concept, right? I explain things like SEO. So when a client is asking me, or when folks are asking me, stakeholders are asking me about SEO concepts and contextuals or search or data or whatever, I will say, hey, a navigation summary is just kind of on the places you will go, the places you came from, where did you come from, where did you go, Cotton Eye Joe, right? That is a navigation summary from a data perspective at its most simplest point, right? And so what you're trying to explain to people is a complex, high concept in a very universally understood language. So don't use jargon, but explain what the jargon means. And you may have to break that down over time and time again. But once you get the concept down of how to explain that thing to somebody who understands it, you will be golden. That is how I make my money, is explaining these very complex concepts to people in very high-end spaces, right? I speak to executives as if they are my Girl Scouts. And the reason I do that is because I do not try to over-explain something, and I don't try to give assumed knowledge of the reader, right? I don't assume that they know anything. And so I try very, very hard to over-explain when necessary to get them to a place of median understanding, so then I can layer on top of that difficult details about what the concept is and why something may be broken, fixed, or needs to be enhanced, or why this multi-million dollars I'm asking for is necessary to fix this thing that's broken. I hope that helps.